Hey, what is up guys? Matt here from the Toasty Bros, and I am back with another video. In this video, we are going to do something in the name of science. Have you seen those older PCs out there that stick big fans in front of them just to cool them because they're old or just have insufficient cooling? Well, in this video, we're going to replicate that with my personal rig using this Hawaiian Breeze space fan. Now, I do not recommend you do this at all, even though Jackson did this with his very first PC back in the day. It was an old pre-built eMachines PC that he upgraded with a graphics card and more RAM, and was having overheating issues, so he just took the side panel off and stuck this bad boy right in front of it. Well, not this one in particular, but a fan like this. It did improve his cooling performance and allowed his PC to function, but would this actually work for a high-end personal rig like mine to keep those cooling temps very low during gaming and under load scenarios? Well, in this video, we're going to test that with a bunch of different variables. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alright guys, so let me explain my testing methodology for this video. We are going to be using AIDA64 Extreme as our stress test utility of choice, and we're going to be testing it in 3 different scenarios. 1 with my side panel on, nothing changed with my system at all. 2 with just the side panel off, no added fan, and 3 with the side panel off with the fan in a push configuration and then a pull configuration, pulling air out of the case and then blowing air into the case. We also are going to be testing it with Battlefield 1, a more real world scenario, and we're going to be running the same suite of tests, but instead of testing the push and pull configuration with the fan, we're only going to be testing the push configuration, which I will explain later on in this video. Alright guys, so let's just get right into those numbers. First up, with AIDA64, with nothing changed at all, we are getting CPU temperatures at 67 degrees Celsius and GPU temperatures at 64 degrees Celsius. Next up, with the side panel off, we are getting a CPU temperature of 56 degrees Celsius and a GPU temperature of 62 degrees Celsius. Now, that is very telling with this case. This case has horrible airflow for my CPU, as you can obviously tell, because with just the side panel off, we are getting a significant difference in load temperatures with the CPU, which is all the more the reason why I really need to upgrade my case. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But let's go on to the rest of the numbers. Alright guys, so now we are introducing the fan variable. With AIDA64 with the fan blowing towards the case, we are getting CPU temperatures at 51 degrees Celsius and GPU temperatures at 59 degrees Celsius, which is a little bit of a difference. It's really not that big of a difference. It's about 5 degrees Celsius on the CPU and about 3 degrees Celsius on the GPU, but it is pretty significant. Alright guys, so now we're going to be testing it in an exhaust configuration with the fan pulling air out of the case. And what we got was a CPU temperature of 52 degrees Celsius and a GPU of 59 degrees Celsius, which really tells the whole story of why I'm not using this configuration in the Battlefield 1 testing, because it really isn't that big of a difference, and it really does tell the story of how radiators work. When there's a lot of people out there who debate whether push-pull works better, there really isn't that big of a difference, as Linus Tech Tips did use in a video, which I'll link in the description down below. You can check that out if you haven't seen it. Push-pull configurations really don't matter all that much, and as you can tell in this testing, it does reiterate that point in a different scenario, definitely. Now on to Battlefield 1, which did seem to stress my GPU a lot more than AIDA64's GPU stress test, which is kind of weird, but nonetheless, this is why I included this real-world test into this video. Battlefield 1, nothing changed at all in my personal rigs. After playing 30-minute, totally maxed out, we are getting a CPU temperature of 62 degrees Celsius and a GPU temperature of 63 degrees Celsius. Now, playing Battlefield 1 with the side panel off for 30 minutes, we are getting a CPU temperature of 52 degrees Celsius and a GPU temperature of 64, which really shows that the GPU wasn't affected that much by being inside this case that doesn't have much of an exhaust, but the CPU is suffocating in there. There is a 10-degree difference between side panel on and side panel off, which is kinda disrespectful for this case. It's bad, and I really do need to upgrade this case because it is pretty much suffocating my CPU in there. And last but certainly not least is using the fan on the system while playing Battlefield 1 for 30 minutes, and we get a CPU temperature of 46 degrees Celsius and a GPU temperature of 62 degrees Celsius, which pretty much shows that the GPU is getting cooled as best as it can, and it really can't go much cooler, but the CPU is the best beneficiary in this scenario because this case is pretty much suffocating it, and having more airflow in the case really affects the radiator's dissipation of the heat and pretty much cools the CPU all the way down to like 46 degrees Celsius compared to what it was getting under load at 62C with the side panel on. So what are my overall conclusions from this testing? Well, before I get into that, let me give you a sound test to see the difference between with the fan on and with the fan off, so you can see why I'm reiterating my point of why I do not recommend this scenario at all. So as you can tell, this fan blares, and it blares so freaking loud that it really is not worth it. It sounds like a server room PC compared to a normal system with normal fans. While the airflow is better and it does improve performance, you are open to a lot more dust collection with the side panel off. It looks really, really cheap. So I would recommend, if you have an issue like this, that you actually go out and get a better case with better airflow, or just eventually scrap your PC and get something new if it's overheating, clean out some dust, that sort of thing. This video is pretty much just a way to pay homage to Jackson's old eMachines PC, may he rest in peace, and basically just show you a scenario that I think is pretty interesting to test. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below and comment what you think. If you want to see more content from the Toasty Bros and you aren't subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button to see more content from us. Be sure to also follow us on Twitter for more updates from the Toasty Bros. We want to get our Twitter followers up. It's always awesome to have a lot of people interact with on Twitter. So if you haven't already, follow us on Twitter, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave a comment down below. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace out.